Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving deep into the world of AI and how it's changing the game in democracy, science, and even the media.
It's fascinating because AI is often presented as this either or kind of thing, savior or threat.
Right.
But the really exciting part is how it can actually work with us,
Oh,
amplify what we're capable of doing and even come up with solutions that we might not have thought of on our own.
it really is like having this incredibly smart assistant
Yeah.
helping us tackle these huge challenges facing humanity. And speaking of challenges, let's start with democracy.
Okay.
We hear a lot about how AI could impact elections, and not always in a good way.
Yeah.
But what if it could actually make elections more fair,
Right.
more transparent?
Well, one of the ways AI is really shaking things up is by helping us understand how voters are feeling.
Okay.
So imagine AI digging into social media posts, news articles, online forums, all of that, to get a real-time sense of what people really care about.
So instead of just relying on traditional polls that might not be telling the whole story,
Ex-
we could use AI to get a much clearer picture of what's on voters' minds.
Yeah, and not just campaigns either. Think about election officials using that information to make sure voters are getting accurate info,
Oh, that's interesting.
making the whole process more transparent and trustworthy.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you got to wonder about the potential for misuse.
Mm.
Could this kind of technology be used to manipulate voters or spread misinformation?
That's definitely a valid concern, and it really highlights how important it is to create AI systems that have safeguards in place from the beginning.
Hmm.
It's like when you build a car, you wouldn't build a powerful engine without any brakes.
Right.
It's all about balance.
I like that analogy. So we're not talking about rejecting AI completely.
Right.
It's more about being thoughtful about how we develop it and making sure we use it responsibly.
Exactly. Transparency and accountability need to be built into the system. And there are some really interesting initiatives out there like Elmo. Yeah, it's a program developed by the Carter Center. It uses AI to keep an eye on elections in real time, looking for any weird patterns in the data that might suggest fraud.
So it's like an AI watchdog, making sure everything is above board.
Yeah.
That's definitely a win for democracy.
Absolutely.
But AI's influence isn't limited to elections. It's also revolutionizing the world of science, particularly drug discovery.
Yeah,
And that's something that really excites me.
absolutely. One of the biggest breakthroughs we've seen lately is AI's ability to predict how proteins are structured. These proteins are like tiny machines essential for just about every biological process in our bodies.
Yeah.
And if we can understand their structure, we unlock the secrets to developing new drugs and treatments.
I remember reading about this. Scientists used to spend years, sometimes decades, trying to figure out how a single protein folds. It was like trying to solve the world's most complex 3D puzzle.
Yeah, and then AI came along with its ability to analyze tons of data and spot patterns we humans wouldn't even notice. Models like AlphaFold 2, which is a deep learning system, can now predict those protein structures super accurately and really fast.
We're talking about AI as a superpowered microscope, basically,
Yeah.
giving scientists this incredibly detailed view of the building blocks of life. It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is, and it has massive implications for how we develop drugs. Because knowing how those proteins fold lets scientists design drugs that fit perfectly into specific proteins.
So it can target diseases much more precisely.
Exactly, and potentially minimize those nasty side effects. It's like having a key that fits perfectly into a lock. No more fumbling around trying a bunch of different keys, hoping one will work.
This is a game changer for so many diseases.
It really is. Think about cancer, Alzheimer's, even genetic disorders. AI is speeding up the drug discovery process, which means potentially life-saving treatments could reach patients faster than ever.
It's an incredible example of how AI can be a force for good in the world.
Absolutely.
Now let's switch gears a bit and talk about another area where AI is making a big splash: the media. We've all heard about deepfakes, those super realistic videos that make it seem like someone is saying or doing things they never actually did.
Right. Deepfakes are a perfect example of that double-edged sword aspect of AI. On one hand, the technology is amazing. You can use it for entertainment, education, even preserving history. Imagine bringing historical figures to life and hearing them tell their stories in their own words.
It's like the ultimate history lesson.
Yeah, or creating those crazy realistic special effects in movies without needing expensive CGI.
Right. AI can push the boundaries of creativity in ways we never thought possible.
Yeah.
But of course, there's that dark side we have to talk about.
Absolutely. The same technology that can create educational content can also be used to spread lies, ruin reputations, even influence elections. And that's where things get a little scary.
Exactly. Like this tool that can build incredible things,
Yeah.
but it could also be used to tear things down.
Yeah.
The power is undeniable, but the responsibility for how it's used that falls on us. So how do we make sure AI is used for good? How do we navigate this tricky landscape?
Well, I think a crucial step is establishing clear guidelines for how AI is developed and used.
Okay.
Think of it like setting up rules of the road
Mm.
to make sure everyone's driving safely and responsibly.
So like an AI ethics code.
Exactly. A framework that can guide developers, researchers, policymakers, everyone involved
Right.
in using AI in a way that benefits all of society.
And those guidelines would need to address things like transparency, accountability, fairness.
Absolutely.
We need to know how these systems work, how they make decisions, what kind of data they're using.
Right. Transparency is key, especially when we're talking about AI being used to make decisions that impact people's lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about AI being used in healthcare or finance or even the justice system.
Right.
We need to be able to trust that those systems are making fair and impartial decisions.
Right. And that they're not just perpetuating existing biases or inequalities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where the idea of explainable AI comes in. It's not enough for an AI system to just give us an answer.
Right.
We need to understand why it came to that answer.
Absolutely. Like, how did the AI decide to recommend this particular treatment or deny that loan application?
Exactly. It's like going to the doctor. We want to know why they've made a diagnosis, not just what the diagnosis is.
Right.
And that applies to any field where AI is being used to make decisions that affect us.
Absolutely. Explainable AI is so important for building trust and accountability. It lets us identify potential problems, correct errors, and make sure that these systems are actually aligned with our values.
It all sounds good in theory, but how do we put these principles into practice? Who's in charge of setting those guidelines and making sure people actually follow them?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
And there's no easy answer, but I think it requires a real collaborative effort
Okay.
involving governments, industry leaders, researchers, even the public.
So it's not just tech companies policing themselves. It's a much broader conversation we need to have as a society about how we want to live with AI.
Exactly. And that conversation needs to be inclusive. It needs to involve people from all different backgrounds and perspectives.
Right, because ultimately AI is going to impact all of us.
Exactly. So everyone should have a say in how it shapes our future.
It's not just a technological issue.
Right.
It's a societal one.
Yeah.
It's about how we want to live, how we want to work,
Yeah.
how we interact with each other in this world where AI is becoming more and more present.
And I think that's what makes this such an exciting time.
Yeah.
We're at this crossroads and we have this incredible opportunity to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits all of humanity.
It's like we're writing a new chapter
Yeah.
in the story of human progress. And AI is one of the most powerful tools we have, but we have to use that tool wisely with compassion and with a vision for a future where AI helps us create a better world for everyone.
I love that. And that's a really important point. It's not about AI replacing us.
Right.
It's about AI empowering us to be better.
No, absolutely. It's amazing to think about how AI could help us solve some of those really tough problems facing the world. But I think there's also this underlying fear for a lot of people.
Yeah.
This idea that AI might become too powerful,
Yeah.
even surpass human intelligence. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a question that comes up a lot, and for good reason.
Yeah.
The idea of machines becoming smarter than humans can be a little unsettling. But I think it's important to remember that AI as we know it today is very different from human intelligence.
So it's not just about AI getting faster or more efficient at processing information.
Right.
There's a fundamental difference between how humans think and learn and how AI operates.
Exactly. Humans have this incredible capacity for creativity, empathy, moral judgment. These are qualities that are really hard to replicate in machines.
It's like that spark of ingenuity,
Yeah.
the ability to see the world in new ways, to connect ideas that seem completely unrelated. That feels uniquely human.
Absolutely. AI excels at tasks that involve processing huge amounts of data, finding patterns, making predictions. But when it comes to things like intuition, imagination, emotional intelligence, humans still have the edge.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
But let's be real. AI is already changing the job market. We're seeing automation replacing jobs in manufacturing, customer service, even some areas of finance. Is this just the beginning? Are robots going to take over all the jobs?
It's true that AI will disrupt the job market, and some jobs will definitely become automated. But it's also important to remember that new technologies create new jobs too. Think
Right.
about the internet. It wiped out entire industries, but it also created countless new ones that we couldn't have imagined before.
So instead of trying to hold on to jobs that are likely to be automated, we should be focusing on developing skills that will be in high demand in an AI-powered world.
Exactly. Skills like critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, emotional intelligence, all of those will be even more valuable as AI takes on more of those routine tasks.
So it's not about humans versus machines.
Yeah.
It's about humans and machines working together.
Exactly. Each one leveraging their own unique strengths to create something even greater.
I like that. And it's not just about the workplace. It's about how we integrate AI into society as a whole, making sure it's used to empower people, to strengthen communities, to create a more just and sustainable world for everyone.
That's the goal. And I think we're at a really crucial moment. We have this incredible opportunity to shape the future of AI and make sure it's used for good.
It's like we're on the verge of something truly transformative. And AI can be the key to unlocking all sorts of amazing possibilities,
Hmm.
but it's up to us to use it responsibly, to navigate the challenges, and to create a future where AI helps us build a better world for everyone.
Absolutely. Well said. And to our listeners, I want to leave you with this thought. Don't be afraid of AI. Embrace its potential, but also engage with it critically. Ask questions, demand transparency. Be part of the conversation about how AI is shaping our world.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
And it's been a fascinating journey exploring the world of AI with you. And to all of you listening out there, thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the incredible world around us.